All right, friends, I've been mulling this one over for quite some time and need to just get it out there so we can start a conversation about it. So bear with me if I stumble in my words or I'm still putting thoughts into it, but I really want to call people to switch gears back to a place of abundance and shift their mindsets. I know we've all been through sometimes some years of fear and scarcity and lack, and could still be in a place that feels real. But I believe each day, each decision that we make can put us back into a different mindset. And I think as Americans, we need to lock arms and go back there together. When I say that's not just an overnight decision or change or those sorts of things, but I let's start with just one analogy about gardening. So I'm going to share my experiences this year, this season. It's not even half over, but just as an example, not right or wrong, not better or worse than anything else, but just maybe a challenge to help us all shift our thinking as best we can. So, this was my very first year raised bed gardening. This was my first year gardening in the Ozarks in the Midwest. I'd gardened once before, I think, when I was in college. I grew some corn once, but full size gardening, raised beds, first time, all that. So, what I chose to do is partner with others who had come before me and were already aware of starting seeds and different things, and together we were able to offer some beginning gardening classes. So we were able to gather together at my home and talk about beginning gardening. Was I an expert? Absolutely not. Was I willing to make a connection to someone who was, and I had that ability to do so, which was a blessing? Yes. So we gathered together people, we shared seeds, we shared plant starts, we shared education, and got ourselves excited and went out and started gardening. Fast forward, not knowing what I was doing and knowing I was going to for sure have some plants not succeed, I started from seed, which is maybe an aggressive goal for my first year without a greenhouse, but I did it. I started it on my kitchen table in the windowsills of our home and just went for it. Planted 1.5 million little seeds, it felt like, for sure. Started earning my green thumb as several of them died along the way, overwatered, underwatered. It was Tuesday. Who knows why they died? So it happens. But I planted a ton of seeds, got a lot of things going. Not even expensive seeds. I knew I was going to kill some. I got really cheap seeds, as best I could, non-GMO, but just went for it. Had a beautiful friend invite me to lots of plant sales, so I was able to supplement, add a few inexpensive plant starts to what I had been starting, maybe things that I didn't have seeds for. Got it all going. So fast forward now to, those plants are growing. They're big enough to transplant outside into my garden. I quickly ran out of garden space. I have, you know, feels like 3,000 plants per square foot in my little 3 raised beds. And so I started having to plant into bags. I didn't even have containers. So I took soil and put them into gardening bags and started planting zucchinis and all kinds of things overflow into these bags. So what that did for me was give me backup plants. So I was, by doing lots of seeds, I was sort of expanding my opportunity. I had more than maybe I needed at the start. As I transplanted and put some things into shock or some things died, I had, again, a backup plan. I had more than enough in that opportunity, and really it became way more than enough, and that was a blessing. So I heard someone say to me, what really got me thinking about this was they didn't plant more tomatoes this year. They planted however many plants they had the year prior, because the year prior, when the tomatoes came on, they had too many for their family. So they just didn't want to do that again. And my thought was, who do you know? Who could you give a tomato to? Who could you bless by having an extra produce or an extra plant or extra those sorts of things? And I started doing that. So I started having entire plants, not just little starts, but full on planted zucchinis and things, and was able to start sharing full plants with someone who maybe their entire zucchini died, and I had a full plant ready to go, not just a little start already in a little container, a little bag that they could take home. So I can't tell you the number of people this season, my first year, I was able to give entire full on starting to flower plants, zucchinis, cucumbers, tomatoes, nasturtium flowers, all kinds of things. At one point, my husband and I actually went and planted an entire garden for a friend as a surprise. They were out of town and they just needed some extra love. And so we showed up at their house, took extra starts, dug things right out of our garden, took lots of extras that we had, and planted an entire garden for their family. Small space, small raised bed that they already had, we knew. And so was able to do that for that family, that get them going, allow them to just focus on production and harvest and not planning and all that stuff. So who knows what you'll be able to do. There's a local plant swap here. So in where I'm at near Springfield, Missouri, you can take an extra plant you have and drop it off and pick something out of the selection of plants that others have done the same with. So because I have extra starts, I can do that. I can pay it forward. I maybe take 2 or 3 and only, don't need to take any home with me. I could donate 2 or 3 and not need to take any, or I could swap, or if someone didn't have a plant, they could still take one, and because someone else had paid it forward in that way. So let's start shifting that mindset. I'm not wanting to be wasteful. I want to be a good steward of those plants. Absolutely. I want to take, be a good steward of my time, the amount of time and resources it takes to plant those plants, and the soil and the seeds and all that stuff. There's time and resources involved, absolutely. But do I believe that I can find enough people in my life to bless and pay it forward if my family has more than we need? It's just James and I, so we maybe don't need 25 zucchinis when they come on. Can I find friends to take and to bless with that produce? Maybe a neighbor. That if we don't know enough friends and neighbors, let's fix that, right? Let's find people that are doing the things that we're passionate about doing, like gardening. Let's find neighbors and know them well enough such that you could bless them with what you have extra. Today I went and donated blood, did my bi-weekly blood platelet donations. I was able to take zucchinis and cucumbers to the staff that I become friends with at the blood donation center. Even if they didn't need them, I would have left them for other blood donors as a thank you for their donations. Often a lot of the other donors are very elderly, may not have a garden, and that sort of thing. So let's break through that mindset of, I don't want to plant too many tomatoes because they might go to waste. I agree, let's not waste, but let's find a way to pay it forward. Even as small, tiny hobby farmers, if you just have 2 or 3 tomato bushes and you get too many tomatoes, let's find a way to bless other people. Maybe you could can those tomatoes and therefore preserve them for your own family longer, or can and give it to another. I'm learning small batch canning right now, where I only had 1 pound of blackberries last night, so I only made one small batch of blackberry jam. So 2 pints, that's all we got, and that's okay. So I preserve that. I can either use it for my family or I can gift it to someone else. So how about we get back to that mentality of abundance and provision and knowing that God is providing, right? At the end of the day, that's all that matters, that God is going to provide for us. So if I have the ability to do so, I have the good health and the land or the front porch or whatever it is that you're gardening on, let's think bigger. Let's think, how can I bless my neighbors? How can I help build a stronger America? How can I help a neighbor to take that step past fear and insecurity and lack and not enough, because I'm able to bless them maybe, and they aren't able to repay me? Or where are those neighbors now that I've gotten to know them? We've been very blessed. We found neighbors that we can barter with and to share and do community farming with. They know things that we don't know, and they're going to come teach a class for us on canning. And there's things that hopefully I can do and bless them in return when we process chickens together, or just donate my labor. A neighbor, I can go mow their lawn for them and bless them as they're getting ready to sell a house. So there's so many things we can do in a barter culture, in a pay it forward blessing culture, and just an abundance mindset that can come. If I can produce more than maybe my family needs, that's a way that America can get stronger. As I share and create a food chain locally, it may not be more than just something, a few tomatoes, an extra zucchini, but what if every one of us was doing that? And what if we reach back and invite someone to come forward with us? As I learn now, and I've gone through my first growing season, as I'm preparing to plant my fall garden, who is someone that I can teach, reach back and teach. And again, I'm not an expert. I may be doing all kinds of things wrong, but I'm doing it, right? I'm taking action. That's the piece that I really want to inspire others to do as well. It may not be perfect. It may be super ugly. It may all fail, but take action. Don't be afraid. What if it fails? What if I kill the plants? What if I, whatever, right? We all have those moments, but don't stay in that place. Take action, move forward, just do what is best you know what to do. Research online, reach out to someone, a friend like me, or someone that can come alongside you and share what they have, and just together share knowledge. And what can you trade, what can you exchange? Knowledge, ideas, plant starts, extra tomatoes. So that's my encouragement is, let's not stay in this place of scarcity and lack and fear. Let's choose to take action today, each day, and support one another. Pay it forward. Don't not plant that extra tomato plant. Go for it. And let's change America together through our actions and through God's blessing and provision. All right, friends, get done.